Yo, what's up guys, it's +3 here again. So I still get questions about enhancement, which is fine I suppose, but you pretty much need to listen to what I'm telling you in the video, because a lot of you just ask me the same thing over and over, but it's in the video, I promise you. So a common question I get is rotation. And there is a rotation, but there's also a priority list. And what that means is that your rotation is going to change depending on the situation of the fight. And it's going to change depending on your procs. So in this video I'm going to go through rotation, I'm going to go through priority list, and I'm going to go through how you start a fight. Because a lot of people don't know how to start a fight. And I'm surprised that you don't know. So I'm going to show you this. So the first two tips I'm going to give you, and it's the most important tips about the rotation, is that the first one, as I said in the video, I need to lower my music, sorry. The first thing I'm going to tell you is you need to juggle your flame shock and your earth shock. And what I mean by that is that, so if you look at the duration of flame shock, it's 14.22 seconds. You don't want it lower than 12 seconds, because if you have it lower than 12 seconds, you'll fuck up your rotation, and that is another reason why full haste is bad. Full haste gems is bad. You can also see it right here. I just did a VOA 25. I died, so DPS is crap. As you can see, wait, oh shit. As you can see here, I got aggro from the attack. 40k, so I stand a fucking chance of surviving. But right, so 14.22 seconds is around where you want it. And the reason why is because your shock spells has a 6-second cooldown, right? So that means every 6 seconds you want to juggle your flame shocks or your shock spells. You want 100% uptime on flame shock without losing DPS. Now if you drop it for half a global, which is 0.25 seconds, that is fine, that won't hurt you as bad. But if you drop it for a good 3 seconds, that's gonna hurt your DPS a lot. Because you want the constant tick on it all the time. That's the first tip. Juggle your fucking shock spells, or you're gonna fucking lose DPS. Every 6 seconds you should use your shock spells. And the second tip I have for you is that you always want to watch your globals. You always want to watch your globals. Because if you're on 4, let's say you have 4 stacks, and you press Fire Nova, let's say, you need to watch that global, because you might generate your last Maelstrom within that global. Then you don't want to press Storm Strike or Lava Lash. You want to press Lightning Bolt all the time, every time. Because if you accidentally use Lava Lash or Storm Strike when you have 5 stacks, what that means is that you waste an opportunity to get an instant cast after the reset. Because Enhancement is all about getting 5 stacks as fast as possible. I'm going to go through this too, but do keep in mind that when I'm doing this, it's going to be really fucking difficult for me to tell you what spells I'm using, because it's always going to change. That's why it's a priority list, but it's also a rotation. So the rotation itself, and I'm not gonna count Lightning Bolt. I'm not gonna tell you when to do Lightning Bolt in this. So the rotation start with Flame Shock, Storm Strike, Fire Nova, Earth Shock, Lava Lash. That's the pure rotation you want to keep in mind, and then repeat. Because after that, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 globals. That's 2.5 seconds. Well, no, that's 3 seconds. Oh wait, my fucking. Sorry about that. Yeah, so after that, then you know that's about it's about 7 seconds left on your flame shock. Then you should use earth shock, and then rinse and repeat, right? So basically, your shock spells should be, you should use them every 6 seconds because you don't want your flame shock to run out. And another very important thing is that when you press earth shock, it's a spell, so you stop all your auto attacking. When you use earth shock, your animation stops all auto attacking for a brief moment. That's why it's completely fine to use earth shock, even if you have 5 stacks, because you'd rather press earth shock at 6 seconds. You'd rather not drop your flame shock than press lightning bolt and drop your flame shock, because flame shock needs to be on the target at all times. And as I said, if you drop it for like 0.25 seconds, then you won't lose that much. That is fine. You can lose it for a global, but do keep in mind that you want to juggle your spells. Okay, so now I'm gonna try this out and try to show you what I mean. Right, so the rotation goes flame shock, and when I press flame shock, before I place, or at the same time I press flame shock, I want to start auto attacking, which looks like this. That. So I start auto attacking, then storm strike, fire nova, earth shock, 6 seconds, lava lash, and then we reset. Storm strike, earth, flame shock, refresh your totem, flame tongue. I have every ability on cooldown. Lava lash, earth shock, storm strike, fire nova, lava lash, flame shock, and then it keeps going on and on and on. So you always need to watch your priority list. You should always keep magma totem. Magma totem is also one of those abilities that goes above lava lash. Lava lash is the ability you want to use absolutely last. It's one thing. It's a maelstrom generator. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's nothing else. It's not damage. It's never damage. Because if you look at my damage, it's done basically as much as fire nova. But fire nova is always gonna do more damage than lava lash, basically in every fight. And of course, in between there, you wanna watch your globals. So if you get 5 stacks, because you can very easily get 5 stacks after you use flame shock and then storm strike. Very, very, very easily. So that is the pure rotation of the enhancement shamans: flame shock, storm strike, fire nova, earth shock, lava lash, repeat. And as you can see, the add-on I'm using is Need to Know. And this is super easy to set up. It's a super good add-on because Enhancement is all about globals, juggling your spells, and watching your buffs. Because you can't drop any of these. If you drop these, you're fucking doomed. It's a lot of management. It's debuff management. It's global management. It's totem management. It's buff management. It's priority. Like, there is so much about this class that you need to understand. You're not going to learn this class in a jiffy. You're going to need to practice this class a lot. And I mean a lot before you master it. Because it's a fast rotation. You need to be fast on your fingers. Because you have so many fucking abilities, so you need to press constantly. Constantly. More than any other class. More than Shadow Priest. More than Affliction Warlock. Like... or maybe actually it's about the same as Affliction Warlocks, because Affliction Warlocks are kind of tricky too. Right, so that's the pure rotation. That's the add-on I'm using. I might as well go through it real quick. Right, so if you get Need to Know, it's spelled like this: Need to Know, like that. Right, so you get these bars, right? You get these bars, Need to Know. So you can, one group is 3 bars, and you can change it how many bars you want. You can go 5, 6 bars if you want. And you can disable how many you want, so you can have a shit ton if you want, but you only need 4 as an enhancement. You only need 4. And it's super easy to set up, right? Because you right click this, you choose what it is. If it's Flame Shock, it's a debuff. And then you just type in what the debuff is called, Flame Shock in this case. And then you can show the icon of Flame Shock, and you can choose the color of your Flame Shock. If it's a buff, it's the same thing. It's a buff, you choose the buff, and you also need to choose what you need to monitor. So if it's a buff, you need to monitor the player, and if it's a debuff, you need to monitor the target. And that's it. That's the entire add-on. It's super simple, super easy, and super useful. Because you can't, since you get so many buffs, you can't look over here. You can't look over here. I really recommend, because you can see that most of your time as an enhancement, you need to look at your abilities either way. So you basically keep an eye on this portion of the screen until you learn it, of course, because then you can start using or looking over here in the actual fight. Right, so that's the rotation, and that's the priority list of enhancement. Now I'm going to show you how I start a fight. And what I'm going to start with is this glyph, 30% additional attack power. Just because you have this glyph does not mean that you want to wait until, let's say, berserking procs or you pop your totems. Because when you pop your totems and you pop your wolves, the reason why you don't want to pop your wolves is because the animation when you pop wolves is so long that you cancel so much damage. The only boss you want to start using wolves on before you pop or start using totems on is Deathbringer Sourfang. That is the only boss that you want to start with totems, because you can cheese it, right? You can pop your totems and then you can pop your animation, and then as soon as the boss starts, you're auto attack ready. But every other boss, I'm gonna show you how I start the fight on Marrowgar. So this is the way I start with Marrowgar, right? So when you pop wolves, your wolves is always on aggressive, and it looks something like this. Right. So you wanna right click the boss, so your character is in battle stance. And that means, what that does is that as soon as you get into range, right there, you start auto-attacking. And as soon as you start auto-attacking, you get these buffs. And you want to start stacking Flurry and Hakumu, or War Token, I'm not sure. Hakumi, I think you pronounce it. So that's why you want to use that. Okay, so if we're watching for a pull here, if this is Lord Marrowgar, this is how I pull the boss. So Tank's over here, right? And 5, 4, 3, 2, Wolves, Sprint, Flame Shock, right click, Totem, Shamanistic Rage, and then you start with your rotation, right? So this is what you want. I need to stand behind it because these fucking things are so fucking buggy. But then you start your rotation, right? And your priority list. So yeah, that's how you start a fight. You don't want to run up to the boss without wolves. You do not want to pop totems before wolves just because you have the glyph, because it's not going to help them that much. Because your wolves will still have your totem buffs, even if you pop it after the wolves itself. So it's completely fine. Like, it's completely and utterly fine. So that's how you start a fight. That's how you do rotations. And as a bonus, I just showed you I don't go fucking full haste Gemps, because I think it was like 7k DPS difference between me and him and he was full bis. He did more burst damage than me because he gets more procs during the burst because he has more haste. But after the burst is over, he dies, or the DPS dies. So you need to take that into account, and that's why you don't go haste. So yeah, that's the rotation. That's how you start a fight, and that's how you pull a boss. You need, as I said, I can't teach you this with a video because you need so fucking much practice. And keep in mind that this changes all the time based on your haste. Because let's say my alt enhancement has 400 haste. I think it is 425 haste. Now the priority list does not change, but the rotation is gonna change slightly, very slightly, depending on your haste. But that's how you want to do it. So I really hope this helps, and if you want to master this shit, you better fucking practice, boy. Because there's not... What you see in here is fucking 15 years of this class, and this class only. So, yeah, I wish you good luck, and I hope it helped. So, take care. Bye-bye.